Hey, welcome to another edition of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show, our ongoing miniseries where we break down key updates and design questions straight from the development of Shade Protocol. These episodes are built around the game's community engagement series Devs Ask You, or DAUs, where Kendall and the team not only show us changing, but invite fans to shape the journey with them. Today's topic dives into something every action-adventure game needs to get right: progression. With the protocol system already offering huge customization and playstyle variety, the team is exploring a secondary progression system that adds a sense of growth without overshadowing the core mechanics. Be sure to follow us and Little Legendary on our socials and YouTube channel, and be sure to join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice directly with the dev team. Links to everything will be in the description down below, and with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! We already know that protocols are meant to be powerful, flexible, and not something players, air quotes, level up, right? For the next part of the progression systems you guys are playing with now, again, things can change as development continues. What led you to the decision to keep protocols static in power instead of evolving them over time?
So it's a very difficult decision for the team to make, because it is very easy for us to consider just making, the core interesting mechanic of the game, the protocols, to be the thing that we just level up. Like, just imagine that for a moment, how easy that could be for us to just fully deep dive into that. But then the problem is that one of the core design rules of protocols is that we want players to feel enticed and excited to change. So for those that might not have listened to the protocols podcast yet, the very short explanation is that it's a system that you through exploration and many other things, you would get these kind of rules that you can implement to your character, and they drastically change your character. They let you do things like, whenever you defeat enemies, you can summon little drones, or maybe you can double or triple your, how many attacks come out whenever you swing, and you could do very crazy things. It's like a little bit of a Mega Man meets Clair Obscure Picto system kind of thing, but it's a lot simpler. The effect is drastic. What happens is, if you make that system, at least this is our hypothesis, and what the community seems to, I think they agree, but in their mind, maybe they would like it to evolve, but there's a lot of risks. What happens is, if you make it so that, let's say you have one set of protocols that you're using and you really like it, and you just got a new one, but you are leveling up in some sort of way your old protocol setup, then you might feel, and we might have to, when you move to the new one, then feel less powerful in order to grow that.
Right.
And that just makes it, like, I don't know, but I'd have to really test this with players, but I feel that it'll lead to people not wanting to change.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose power.
It doesn't
right?
incentivize the customization and the free willingness for the player to experiment like you want them to.
Exactly. I think our goal with protocols is that they're very playstyle heavy focus.
Right.
So that would mean that, let's say you're moving from a protocol like our code protocol that lets you summon drones to our echo protocol that lets you, kind of through certain situations, you can double your attacks, and copies of you do extra attacks. It's pretty cool. So if you're switching from one to the other, you're switching from a mid-range kind of combat summoner vibe into like a brawler, like really tanky, really, kind of high stakes melee fighter. So you're already going to take a quote unquote minor loss in terms of if you've been playing most of the game in one of them, you're going to take that minor loss of experience. You don't know how to play the other setup as well. So you're going to already be, taking a little bit of a sacrifice in the switching as you're learning. But there's no material loss. Once you learn how to use the protocol and you feel like more accustomed to how it works, then you have its full power, right? There's no moment where you are not as powerful as you could be. That we like that a lot, because then you could switch from one protocol to the other and instantly just, be as powerful as you were if you are able to switch to playstyles. So then if that's the case, then finding a protocol doesn't progress your character outside of giving you access to that toolkit, right? That specific playstyle. So that's when we come up with this new system that we're working on. It's not final. It's not like we're still developing and figuring out. And this is part of like what I think makes Legendary kind of special. We don't get married to any of these ideas. We just bring them to the community and we figure out what we like and what's fun. But the number one thing is that it has to sponsor the fantasy of the game, which is pretty much this orchestra of instruments, right? Like Zura has all these instruments that she's mastering. In the time frame of the game, Zura will evolve, but I don't particularly think like we're gonna do like a talent tree, for example, where we're saying, oh, Zura, out of nowhere, like Zura could do like a triple jump on the talent tree, right?
Right.
It seems to me that we might end up doing that if we don't have a choice. But in my mind, it like a replica wouldn't evolve like that. Like you need components, you need someone to like alter you, right? It'll require more than just like getting experience.
You can
right?
do it now because you can.
Yeah, it's a little bit like because we're trying to make the game really diegetic, which means like everything that is happening to Zura, we are experiencing too, and vice versa.
Right.
It's like something that's kind of a little bit more realistic, but of course inside the fakeness of a fantasy world. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So anyway, to speed run through this, the goal is right now we're considering this talent tree that is very simple, we would say. It's a very simple talent tree that has a lot of depth, and I'll go into that in another question. But the concept is every part of the talent tree is an instrument, and the instruments are the ones that are that you are becoming more masterful in using, right? So we're evolving the instruments, but because the instruments are used for exploration, and every instrument at this moment has a button, therefore you will be evolving your buttons. So in some sort of like very nuanced way, you are evolving Zura. It's not themed that way, right? So if you're evolving your basic attack, you're evolving the shield. If you're evolving maybe your dash, then you're evolving the katana, like etc. Right? If you want to evolve your heavy attack, then you're evolving the axe. And when I say evolve, I mean like improve, right? Like you're spending your resources and to grow this instrument. So that's kind of like the current vibe, but it's a lot more nuanced, and there's a lot of cool things that we're trying there that at least I haven't seen before, but we'll see. I'll call it like a talent tree plus plus. It's meant to be kind of simple,
right?
So that the player doesn't have to overly think about what they're choosing. It just fits the playstyle that they like, and it's a forever choice that you don't regret. There's no regret. Like you pick a point, a node in the talent tree, and it's just categorically making you better. You're not losing anything, and eventually you'll have all of it. Is the current design of it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like one of the things that really makes Shade Protocol, from what I can tell or what we can see so far, very unique is that you guys are literally playing with so many different kind of power systems or level systems, like whatever, that most Metroidvanias don't see. So like it's very easy to just see Shade Protocol as a Metroidvania, but it's more than that. It has RPG elements. I know other Metroidvanias have RPG elements and stuff like skill trees or like charms or boosted items or whatever. But I feel like you guys are going a step further, especially with the protocol system. That is probably one of the most unique things I've seen within the genre. But seeing talent trees, I think it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, we're just going to get like minor buffs, and that's just going to get better and better as we pour into it. So like when I think of a talent tree, I immediately think of The Witcher, right? And that's its own convoluted thing. Yeah, you can upgrade specific attacks and stuff, specific arts or specific signs and whatever. But like that's still very convoluted, I guess, or like it can be kind of complicated, but you want to simplify it. Can you give us an example or the current concept? Can you walk us through how that would feel moment to moment for the player using this skill tree?
Yeah, so part of what we really want to do, once again, all these are big bets we're making. So if you're listening to this podcast and you go like, I like that, but maybe I would like it this way.
Right.
Come join our discords and tell us about it, right? Because
Yes.
we're still like making really big bets on how we want to do this. None of what you're hearing is fully final.
Nothing's
But
concrete.
one
Yeah.
other thing, yeah, nothing's concrete. But I mean, it's at least we feel we're on the right path to the fantasy that we want.
Right.
We just want to keep simplifying and also focusing on our prime design principles, which pretty much the game is about exploration before anything, right? But it is a cinematic fighter in a way. So whenever you are fighting, you have to feel incredible, right? That's part of what we want. We want you to feel incredible when you're fighting, and because that lets us also make incredible enemies, which we really like the idea. So we'll use an example. Let's say you're going down, you have this theme wise, will probably like the center of this talent tree might be like this beautiful hexagon that looks like a circuit board, and then like I don't know, as you're unlocking the instruments, each path like a bunch of circuits are opening, and it just looks like you're evolving this gigantic circuit board, which something like that is themed with hexagons, which is kind of part of the game. So you're going down this path of the shield, for example, and as you're going down the path of the shield, there's one of these nodes that maybe has the shield throw, and whenever you pick the ability and you use a lithium, which is the currency of the game, to purchase it, the the moment that you get the shield throw, because it's only a combat, like, oh, let me also frame this really quickly. The talent tree is exclusively for combat at this time, as in like what you can do with it is for combat and for fighting, not for exploration. But there are exploration nodes, and I'll explain to you how they work in a moment. But you're not like I said, you're not rushing down to getting like a triple jump. That's not how that's going to work. Anything that enables you to get further in the world, you will get. It will be placed in the talent tree as a node, but you will get it through a moment in the story, like defeating a story boss or something like that. So there's certain nodes that have connections to the rest of the tree, but you can't purchase them. They they happen whenever you defeat a certain boss. But let's go back to the idea of the shield throw, right? You went down the path of the shield throw and you the shield, and then you bought the and I say bought, but you spend your resources into getting the shield throw. So now you have it. You can charge your whenever you swing with the shield, you can charge it, and then you let go of the button, kind of Mega Man kind of X Buster thing. But instead, you throw your shield, it hits an enemy, bounces 3 times, comes back to you. So that's the thing that you can get. However, it has like imagine like visually, it's like a little hexagon, and then it has all these tiny little hexagons attached to it. Those hexagons are attached to it. We're calling them scripts, like an actual code script. This is just once again a code name. So what would happen is through each one of those scripts has a condition, and they're different. Some of it might be finding something like you have to find it in the world, the actual script. Another one would be like hit defeat 3 enemies with a single shield throw. And another one might be something else, right? So imagine it has like 3 little connected things that you cannot purchase. They're just like requirements of the shield throw. So you will get it by using the shield throw and doing stuff with it, right? So one of them, it's like, we call them feats, like a little achievement. So you have to do something with the shield throw that is very, very simple. For example, defeat 3 enemies with the shield throw, with a single shield throw. So what would you do? You're probably like fast travel to a place full of snacklets. You'll just throw the shield, it'll just bounce on 3 little dudes, explode them, and you get that. So the idea is like as you play, you're getting some reward. But let's say that thing that you get there, that defeat 3 enemies with a single shield throw. Once you complete that, it tells you the shield throw bounces 2 more times. So now the shield throw bounces 5 times forever. Like you just enable that, and now that's like part of the shield throw. So the concept is you get these 3 additional things that through the game you'll be working on enabling, and they're not choices you have to make. The moment that you get them, that's it. Like the shield throw
I
just
see.
became better and better and better, right?
Okay.
So
So
through the game you'll get this feeling of growth.
we're not there's no XP bar, there's nothing to grind for. We don't have to like save up our skill points to then unlock the thing. Literally just like if you're able to do this little mini challenge, whatever, if you like on purpose or just by playing the game, you unlock this bonus. Here you go.
So yes, however, the experience part, what you were saying, remember when you're going down the path of the shield throw, as in of the shield,
Mm-hmm.
to buy the shield throw, that node cost a lithium, which I guess we could call that experience. I guess like so.
That
So
would
you
not
are
be the currency?
that is the currency exactly.
Okay.
So but it kind of somehow feels like Dark Souls,
Right,
whatever
yeah, like the
Souls, right? It kind of
souls.
feels that way, right? Because
They're
it's
kind
a
of like
currency that you
both, right?
collect. Yeah. It's currency you collect through the game. Right now we only have the one currency.
Mm.
But what I'm going through is once you buy the shield throw, you can't spend a lithium to buy the other like the improvements of it. The improvements of it are things you do or things you find or bosses you defeat. So the idea is that you might get the shield throw really early in the game, but like through the acts of the game, you will keep improving it, but maybe not all right now, right? So maybe in
Mm.
Act One, you can improve the shield throw to have 5 throws instead of 5 bounces instead of 3. But maybe in Act Two, you get that whenever the shield throw returns, for every enemy that it hit, it gives you back a certain amount of block charge, right? And now you get tankier because that's the point of the shield throw. And then maybe the third thing, I'm coming up with them as we talk, right? But maybe the third one is, the if it hits a single enemy, like it'll hit it 5 times, right? If it only hit it one enemy, it'll hit it 5 times and come
Sure.
back. Something I don't know, I'm coming up with it. But conceptually, the idea is that you will evolve the shield throw so that it becomes more and more powerful through the game, but it won't happen all in one go. And some of those things might be things that you find later on, or things you need to do, whatnot. But specifically for the one, we kind of want all of them to at least have one of those scripts that is a feat, like something you need to do in the game world, in order to gain that ability. And they're going to be super simple. They're not going to be like crazy difficult achievements. Um, and they're not going to be like, oh, go kill 10 snacklets. Like it
Right.
won't be like that. But maybe like the axe, for example, maybe when you go down the axe, like I don't know, like maybe you have the crash, right? So the axe, like you spin down and you hit an enemy, you hit them really hard. Maybe it says something like, hit an enemy with, drag an enemy from so much height, all the way down to the ground.
Right.
And if you do that, maybe what you unleash is that from now on, whenever you start spinning, the axe might like vacuum nearby enemies, right? And then it'll bring them down with you all the way to the ground. Something like that. So it's very minor, but because there's 3 of these things that you're going to be connecting, all the 3 pieces of the improvement of the axe crash will eventually make the axe crash very special and very unique. This is separated from what protocols could do to it, right? So it gives you like this range of things it could do that I think will be just pretty fantastic for the weapon. And it sponsors exploration. It sponsors messing with the instruments in different ways. Maybe we are trying to get you to use the instruments in ways you don't quite expect. And instead of making a tutorial, we just give you a feat, and we just say, I don't know, spear throw, like hit an enemy, with the spear throw. Like, push 3 enemies into a wall with a spear throw, right? So all in one at the same time. So whenever you see an area that has like 3 enemies, you might think, oh, this is a good place for me to go and do this, and then you should go and do it, and you get the improved version. But maybe the other script is, something that you need to find in a biome that you haven't accessed yet. And maybe the third one is like defeat a specific boss that you don't know where it is. So through the game, you'll keep evolving the spear throw. It won't happen all at once. So yeah, that's the current concept of the talent tree. So you'll go from, in the spear, for example, you might go into the spear throw, and then the spear throw node might allow you to go into another, mid-range ability of the spear, and then that might go into another node, and so it keeps going. But it's not that many. The current idea is probably we have like 3 distance levels from the center. So maybe like imagine like a weapon might have like 9, 10 nodes, something like that at most. So it's not that much. It's not if you play Nine Souls, it's a talent tree like that. It's a tiny tree. Like it won't be ginormous. Like you have all these like kind of Path of Exile vibe of like a trillion nodes. Because our goal is that you'll get them all at the end of the game. Like you will get every single one if you've explored and you put the time. You'll have the entire tree. That's the goal.
Right. So, from my understanding, protocols are, of course, its own system that uh, challenges to players to really express themselves in a different way. You know, just hey, if you like this type of effect, go ahead and try that. If you want to mix and match, go ahead. Like it fuels expression, and now with this potential talent tree you guys are currently working on, it feels like it's a lot of like, okay, let's hone in on specific techniques maybe with each weapon slash instrument, and therefore that can sharpen your senses, sharpen your battle mechanics or whatever, and make you a little bit better at being able to do all the other cool stuff that helps you with protocols. No?
Yeah, I mean, exactly so. So if you're going down the path of the shield, right, then we'll want to theme them a lot better. It's not that basic. Like this is the piano, right? It's kind of what we're talking about. And then as you're going down there, you'll have the shield charge, for example. So maybe the first node is related to blocking and parrying. And then the second node is the evolution of that, right? Like now you can use it for, aggression and so the idea is that like the nodes will be abilities that you're getting through just gameplay. And then, if you are it also counters the idea of grinding because if let's say you're losing a lot to a boss and you decide to, well, I'm just going to go somewhere else because I'm not ready to defeat this boss. As you're traveling to the next boss, you're going to get stronger because you're going to collect more lithium and then you'll be able to buy their abilities and you're making yourself stronger. But the idea of like sitting in front of a boss, like beating a bunch of enemies to like buy a new ability, we don't want that to be the case. So we want the abilities to be something that you will get in a very free pace. Like you can get them however you want to, right? So whenever you're making a choice of what to get, it's not like you only have the one node because you have many instruments, right? I almost said how many, but the point is you have a bunch of instruments, and then you'll be able to imagine that the center of the tree is this hexagon that we're talking about. So each area of the tree is expanding outward, and that first circle, very well, first I guess area near the hexagon, that's tier one. So in there you'll have a couple of notes of each instrument. So you're never like bound and obligated to get them all if you don't want to, but you probably will, because before you can unlock the second part of the tree, which will expand the tree outward in all directions, you'll probably have enough to buy all the things in there, right? So it'll even give you things that maybe you don't particularly need right now, but they will all help you. All of the things will help you, and you'll feel some growth, right? So right now we're not doing anything like hyper passive in there because it feels really bad. I mean, maybe people can tell me if agree, but I'm not a fan of like you spend all this energy getting a node, and this node goes like, oh, +2 strength. Like we don't want to do that.
Right.
We don't like that. So we would like it to be like maybe this is a bad example, but maybe it's like the something would be like the for example, the chakram. Maybe the chakram, you get an ability that says like now you have two chakrams, and instead of having one, now you have two. So it's like the chakram means like it's like a really reality bending tool, and it's like now you're kind of throwing like a real version and a copy of it. It's something that then deeply affects your gameplay, but it's not making you teleport twice, right? It's more of a combat thing. That's a better node than the chakram does double damage, right? Because now you have two of them, and you can use them at the same time, and you're doing double damage. Or maybe we say the second one does half damage. I don't know, but we would like it to be things you press. But we'll probably have like abilities that also have like passive things, because we do know that there are many players that will, the moment that they get the katana, they're gonna want to play with the katana like half of the game. So we don't want to punish you for doing that, but we definitely want to incentivize you to do the other things. And some enemies you have to you don't really have an option. Like if they have armor, you have to hit them with the axe and stuff like that. But anyway, where I'm coming from is the tree is meant to stay simple. There are choices that are very obvious, and every node at this moment feels like really monumental. Like you're getting something that you are excited about. And it's not like +5 strength or whatever.
And I can only assume like at the very end of that tree, of that path, maybe it's a boost to your harmonies or something like that.
Kind of. So what we're doing is I like symmetry a lot, which is a problem. to all game devs out there, don't fall in love with symmetry. It's just a bad idea. But I really like the idea of if we're going down these paths of the hexagon, right? We're not going to use all of them. Like probably like it's more like DUI. Probably the center of the hexagon will be further up. So it's a little different, but don't worry about it. So as we're going down, let's say you're going down two of the paths, and one is the path of the shield, so the piano, and the one is the path of the spear, the flute. So as you're going down these paths, there will be some nodes that are kind of connecting the two trees, the two circuit trees. So those nodes that are connected, there'll be something there that's be interesting. It's like these I don't want to spoil what they're called, but concept is it'll be related to what if the shield and the spear, did something together, right? And it's kind of a little bit of relating them a little bit, but they're not like hyper complicated things. They're just things that will feel really good. You guys saw one of them in like the first trailer, where, for example, you do a launcher with the axe, and then you immediately like teleport to where the enemy is
Right.
with the chakram,
Yeah.
for example. So things like that, like will be like abilities that it's not like a completely new ability. It's two abilities that now are merged, and you can use them together in a very synced way. So we're using some musical name for that, but in short, is a combo. It's a more scripted combo. So the idea is that the things between the trees will do that. As you're getting further into the tree, like really far into the tree, like tier 3, tier 4, whatnot, then that's where game breaking stuff's gonna come. And with game breaking stuff also comes game breaking enemies. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like in the future, but definitely we'll get to stuff that will feel really powerful, and there's definitely going to be harmony nodes for sure. So I think like that will be the better way of unlocking harmonies through the tree. And then, but for example, I'll use an example. If we decide to put a double jump in the tree, we're actually debating if the game you start with a double jump period, because we really like it, but we'll see. If that's not the case, then let's say it's in the tree, you don't get it by buying things. There'll be already a node in the tree that is kind of isolated, and that node is progressed by defeating a specific boss or doing a specific thing. Like it's a story thing that you will get, right? The game's not linear, but eventually you will do that thing in order to complete the game, because that's kind of part of a normal Metroidvania. So when you do that thing, the moment that you grab that bigger node, we call them not milestone. They are, I don't remember right now, but pinnacle nodes. It's kind of what we're thinking about. They're like big things that you get. Once you get those, then that node will like circuity wise bleed itself into the rest of the tree, so it'll connect with other things, right? And it's placed in such a place that that double jump thing will help other things around it. But you'll obviously know that you can't get to it. Like there's no connection to the rest of the tree until you actually get it. So you're not thinking, oh, I gotta buy the shield stuff in order to get to this like double jump thing. You never feel like that. But we didn't want to make a third menu, to talk about like, oh, here are all the exploration things that you're getting. We just want to put them in the same place, and we could use the same logic, right? Once you get the double jump, maybe the double jump has 3 scripts, right? And then the double jump evolves just like anything else. And that could have really cool implications. But it's all in the same menu, visually in the same place, and organized in a way that players can understand. So yeah, harmonies, exploration abilities, things like the walk cut, for example, will be there. But you probably will not be able to just go outright buy the walk cut.
Right.
Because think about the consequences of that, right? Then the world, would need to think about how you make the purchase choices, and we don't like that. You'll get that through like the story, right? And it should, but you still can decide to go left instead of right, and maybe instead of getting the walk cut first, you get like the chakram, kind of teleport thing, right? So you're unlocking parts of the world based on where you decide to go and explore, but you have to do things for that, right? So you have to find these things or whatnot. So anyway, I think that's hopefully pretty clear. One menu, but not everything in there you're gonna buy. It's just, things you find through just playing the game.
This has been another episode of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show. Want to help what Shade Protocol becomes? Join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice with the dev team directly. Go follow Shade Protocol on Kickstarter, and if you like this breakdown, check out our past spotlights and interviews with Kendall right here on the Razzle Dazzle Show. Remember, the future of Emeria is still being written.